got Porzingis, you got Holiday, you got Derek White, you got literally, I would say what? 5 guys can get you 20 points in a game?
I know people will say it's, only one guy. I don't believe that, Coach, that, one guy, those days are over, in my opinion. Like, a Bill Russell, a Wilt Chamberlain.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
You're going a little deep bomb hunting here. We don't care that we have the one heavy favorite with Rory, a couple other guys like Fleetwood and Tagala, etc. You're going to go a little deeper down the board.
This course, I think, is going to play a little bit more to the wedges. They have, what they did is they've renovated it to basically block off some of the bombing alleys for these guys. They've narrowed the fairways.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Garrett Cole is getting ready to come back, too. I guess look, they've played great without him, but you're not going to say to Garrett Cole, look, don't come back. I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation to have.
They're not going to take any unnecessary chances. And look, they're at the point where they have a lead. They certainly are going to make the playoffs, I would say, barring some sort of complete collapse. And that's all it takes.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with the injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome in, everyone. We are live right here on SportsGrid. I'm Kevin Walsh with you on this Thursday. It is game time decisions. Plenty to get to here. Stanley Cup Finals. First game in Edmonton, third game of the series. The Oilers look to avoid a 3-0 deficit, something the Mavericks had a chance to do last night at home and could not. A lot of fallout from the NBA Finals. We'll hit that, updated series prices, as well as some of the laziest garbage analysis you could possibly get around this series. Don't worry. I'll pick up the pieces where everybody else appears to be dropping the ball. Major League Baseball board gives us plenty, which is nice. It's a little rarity on a Thursday. We have your MLB play of the day loaded up and in the holster. Cardinals getting the job done against the Pirates. Tigers avoid the sweep from the Nats. Braves, same story. They get it done in Baltimore. And the Royals show some life after getting punched and embarrassed by the Yankees pretty much all series long due to a Clay Holmes blown save in the bottom of the ninth inning on the road there for the Royals to salvage a little bit from that series. We are also live at the U.S. Open, and let's go quick pick style here. Patrick Cantlay to win this tournament. I've placed this wager. Now, the price here is plus 1125. You might say, whoa, I can't get involved at that number. Yes, you can. When I placed this Cantlay bet, it was plus 750, put a little odds boost on it. So you actually, and it all depends on which odds boost you may have available to you, but you could possibly get better because the current Cantlay number is plus 850. It is the same price as Scottie Scheffler. It has taken all day long for the books to drop Scottie to outside of really this 5-1, 6-1 price. This 850 number you see on Scheffler is the longest so far. He is 1 over with 3 holes to play at last look, which would put him 6 shots back of Patrick Cantlay, who is being priced at the same number. While Cantlay did not enter with incredible form, we are all aware he is the caliber of golfer who can win a tournament like this if he heats up, and he certainly did. He is going to almost assuredly be the round one leader. I guess Rory with an opportunity to be a co-leader with 2 holes remaining. It is Rory McIlroy who is your tournament favorite at plus 320. Separating Rory and the Cantley and Scotty is a Bryson DeChambeau plus 600 and a Ludwig Oiberg plus 650. I have grabbed a couple of these golfers that I've mentioned and also put them in a finishing position parlay. This was a parlay that I also placed earlier in the day, a little bit before 2 p.m., and I think the number has probably moved to a bit better, so I'll pull it up and kind of piece it together. But this is top 20s on Ludwig, Cantlay, Scotty, and Xander. If you piece these together right now, you're getting plus 141. At the time, it was plus 125. So, again, you're getting a better number there. At the time of placing that bet, Xander Schauffele looked like he could be in for a great day. Xander ultimately had to settle for even par. He still has 2 holes to go. And that was a battle back from at one point Xander sitting 2 over. It is Scotty, again, who is the last of this bunch. But Scotty Scheffler at the moment for a top 20 is minus 400. Minus 165 for a top 10, plus 140 for top 5s. I am sure people will be clicking. We have a major event with a pre-tournament favorite in Scotty Scheffler that closed under 3-1 at a number of books. And now he is more than double that price. Scotty Scheffler, someone that our very own Brady Cannon, I know, invested in, and he will join us in just a little bit, and we'll get his thoughts. Now, before we get to the Stanley Cup final, can we please talk some NBA final? I am, quite frankly, disgusted at what I've seen from people yesterday discussing Mavs Celtics. It is lazy, and it is embarrassing. Was Luka Doncic good in the game yesterday against the Celtics? Unquestionably, definitively, yes. You are lost if you don't think that's the answer. Shall we plus minus it? Here's the list of Mavericks who had a positive plus minus. Luka Doncic, Derek Lively, Josh Green. That's the list. The entirety of it. And Luka had the best at plus 9. There were people saying, well, Luka Doncic was tanking the Mavs offense, trying to foul bait. Interesting. Not much evidence of that, as Luka's disaster game saw him be, the second best Maverick on the night, as opposed to the runaway best Maverick? This Luka Doncic performance in Game 3 was, at worst, the 4th best performance any Maverick has had between Games 1, 2, and 3, with 3 of the 4 all belonging to Luka. You can slot in the Kyrie 35-point performance wherever you'd like. It is realistically, at best, the 3rd best game we've seen from a Maverick. Luka, in Games 1 and 2, runaway their best player, and by the way, was the clear-cut best player in this series. Yet, apparently, Luka Doncic, looking for fouls, broke the Mavericks. What are you talking about? You're lying. You're latching on. You don't know basketball. You're lost. You're covering a sport accidentally. You're talking about something accidentally. That's what it comes off like. That's what it seems. What are you watching? Did this run happen while Luka was on the bench not complaining? No. The run stopped when Luka went to the bench. Now, let's be clear. The decision to attempt to draw a charge there was a horrific decision by Luka Doncic. A terrible one. A huge miss. Time, score, how many fouls do you have? But that's where this game was lost. Really. Not a third quarter meltdown that once again buried Dallas in a 20-point deficit. Yeah, that's where the game was lost. That's where the game was lost. Not Luka chewing the ear off of the referees. You might say, well, it's the defense. It's the defense, Kev. Again, you're wrong. You're wrong. Luka Doncic has the best defensive rating of any Maverick in this series. Now, again, people hear that and go, see, that's why advanced analytics are a joke. No, It's that defense isn't why the Mavericks are down 3-0. They are holding one of the best offenses in basketball, efficiency-wise, one of the best offenses the league's ever seen, to 106 points per game. Dallas is down 3-0 because they haven't scored 100 points yet in the series. Pay attention. Don't watch the game, have the broadcast tell you, boy, Luka's complaining a lot, and then latch on to that. Don't point down to the Celtics locker room and say that's where the winners are and act as if Luka Doncic swapped places with Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. The result of this series would be any different. In fact, there would be runaways for Boston here, who instead still cannot help but forget completely how to play offense for monster stretches at a time. There are real and very interesting questions about the Mavericks moving forward with the rest of the roster. Luka is the best player on this team by a country mile, and the only reason they enter any of these games with a fighting chance. Yet people like to parrot one another, and all they end up doing is sounding ridiculous to those who know what they're talking about. Finals MVP market will be discussed later, but let's talk some puck next.
Crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but you know, the Cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
It'll be the summer of the Cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, you know, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
Back right here at SportsGrid, it's Game Time Decisions. We're live and in the mix on this Thursday night. And again, we will get into the NBA Finals a little bit more as the show goes on. We have a new NBA Finals MVP favorite. And you want to talk about a swing and a miss. And myself and Jason Tatum look like we are doing that dance once again as Jaylen Brown is minus 340 in that market. But we will get to that a little bit later on. One other quick point, if I may. If anyone has any reason to come on and be annoyed with Luka Doncic, it is actually me, as yesterday's 30-30-30-30 superstar parlay which on a FanDuel bet was 94-1, lost because Luka didn't get 30 because he fouled out. So, and I decided to show up here and defend him because there's just a lot of people talking about a lot of things, and it sounds like they just don't know what they're talking about. Now, we move forward to tonight's game between Edmonton and Florida, and I think this is a very tough game to handicap. You want to talk value, it's hard not to play the Panthers at a plus price. They are the better hockey team. They've been good on the road all postseason long. Edmonton has not been some impenetrable fortress. But, of course, the Oilers' season very much, as always, with, again, the Mavericks last night, feels on the line. So it becomes a tricky spot. Now, if you made me play this money line, and probably if you removed my futures tickets, I might actually be willing to play Florida on the money line. But I have the Panthers minus 1.5 games as a series best bet and minus 2.5 games because I think this will be done in 5. And I may, if we see Florida lose here tonight, be willing to aggressively double up on the in 5 prediction and play a game 4 money line. I would be very surprised, same story as what we saw with Boston, if the Panthers do not grab 1 of 2 on the road. Grabbing both feels like a lot, but I would be stunned if they didn't grab 1 of 2. But ultimately, I'm going to leave the money line alone. As far as the total goes, interestingly enough, I expected goals in Game 2. Game 1, I didn't love the total. If you made me bet it, I would have bet over. Heading into this game here tonight, I actually now found myself leaning under, which goes against a lot of what I would have expected my own self to think heading into this game. We've talked quite a bit on this show, especially with Dave Sharapan, who will join us later tonight, about Edmonton being an over place. When the Oilers are home, look for goals. I wouldn't mind bucking the trend if I was getting under 6. It's 5.5 minus 124 to the under. I cannot get to that number. No way. So what can I get to? 2 separate things. The first is overtime. Dipping into Joe Madden's playbook here, I think we can get overtime hockey. I do expect this to be a very close game. I do not think puck lines are covered tonight. While I know that that is, based on juice, not the wildest thing anyone will have heard, if you take Panthers plus a puck and a half, Edmonton plus a puck and a half, that is a plus 109 parlay for this game to land 1. And if I think I think we're close enough that overtime's going to be on the board. But be very careful here when reading this wording. 60-minute money line tie plus 340. This is on FanDuel. This is nothing new if you are a regular shopper here on this sports book, where things can mean the same thing, yet not priced the same way. The yes-no overtime market has the yes at plus 320, a number, by the way, that I was willing to bet. But the 60-minute money line three-way market has the tie at plus 330. So even though it's dropped a little bit, I earlier in the day did the 340 again, all fine. My point is very simple, though. You're getting a little bit of extra value for betting the 60-minute money line when it means the exact same thing. So I'm going to bet some overtime here. We haven't had overtime just yet between Edmonton and Florida. I don't know if we've escaped any series. I'd have to go back and look. Florida's first-round matchup with Tampa Bay comes to mind without overtime hockey. No, that series had overtime hockey. The series against Boston didn't. I mixed the two up. Nevertheless, I think we can get overtime tonight. I think the number's worthy. Here's the other number that I do believe is worthy, which is an Edmonton Elite Parlay. Plus 197. And it is the top 4 guys on the Oilers, all to record a point. Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Evan Bouchard, Zach Hyman. The most important thing here for me was being able to get this up to a number where the hit rate was kind of justifying the price. What I'm Here's my point. I initially looked into a McDavid, Draisaitl point parlay, which would have been, I think, minus 200. That is not hit with enough frequency, though, for me to be pleased with those odds. Even if I, of course, think that's a winner. Leon hasn't recorded a point yet in this series. McDavid has 1 point. This team has 1 goal. If the Oilers cannot get at least 2 goals up in this game, it would be very surprising. It really would. I think tonight's final score is 3-2 either direction, ultimately. Either direction. But we're getting 2-1 on something that has happened in 5 of 9 games so far, these playoffs, for the Edmonton Oilers, which is all 4 guys recording a point in the same game. So that's a 5-4 record. It's not a massive hit rate. But what this is a parlay that we can play tonight, look for a win, and if we get a loss, maybe a little bit of a better number, and play it in Game 4. And that's something I'm going to look to do. I know I've talked about kind of carrying over the parlays. That NBA octopus had its moment. It died. It's done. We can expand on that a little bit later. But this little Edmonton situation back home for the desperate Oilers tonight is something that I'm all about, with this price creeping up nearly 2-1. Their top 4 guys all to get on the sheet here tonight is the parlay piece that we use for the Stanley Cup Final. We'll talk some baseball next right here on Game Time.
Crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but you know, the Cleeks have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
It'll be the summer of the Cleeks, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, you know, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
All right, we're back right here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh with you. It is a Thursday night, and the baseball board, more opportunities than I would say I'm accustomed to on a Thursday night. We have plenty of games to get involved with here. I'll give you a little bit of insight as to what I'm looking for in each of these games. There are 2 picks on the board right now outside of the best bet. We'll get to that as well. MLB play of the day continue to be red hot even on the day off. Shout out Rob Refsnyder for a run scored on the Red Sox. None of that makes sense. Rob Refsnyder, run scored, baseball best bet, Red Sox. It happened, though. It happened. We start in Tampa Bay, Rays, Cubs. I feel that this total's appropriately priced. It feels lower scoring. I like Taj Bradley. If you are looking for a strikeout prop parlay piece, I would look towards Bradley. Steele feels unpredictable for me tonight. I'd rather play dog than favorite here. I'm not on the game. Mets Marlins, I am on the game. Give me the over. 3.5 team total for Miami at -110 juice. Luis Severino goes, and I know Sevy's having a nice season, but a very clear spot for Severino to fall off a little bit. Take a look at the season that we've seen from Sevy, and he's coming off of 8 innings of work, 1 earned run, 7 hits, but still a great outing. If you look at the prior times we've seen this from Severino, where he extends himself, the next outing's not as pretty. Had an 8-inning start against the Cubs, followed it up by giving up 4 earned in 5 innings of work against Tampa Bay. If you look at his 7-inning outing against the Giants, follow that up by giving up 4 earned in 5 1/3 against the Diamondbacks here. So now you get Luis Severino here. You could play over earned runs, 2.5 at plus money. I think Sevy could give up all 3.5 of this team total, but why not leave the Mets bullpen in the mix here, which has consistently blown games throughout this season? Give me the Marlins team total over the 3.5. Give me under 8.5 Red Sox, Phillies, Aaron Nola against Tanner Houck. I think both of these guys make plenty of sense if you're looking for more strikeout prop parlay pieces here. This is a very difficult spot, though, to not take under 8.5. This is not your play of the day. It's my favorite bet of all time, but we got to take a chance here. This is very simply a weather number. If they put this game in a dome, this total will be 7.5, 7 flat, probably juiced under. Really. Houck's been awesome. Nola's been awesome. Both guys in good spots where I think you should expect them to be great. But the weather is popping at Fenway. Wind's blowing out. It's hot. It's home run weather. We can play under since they've moved it, right? If they were hanging the 7.5, you might look over. Hanging the flat 7. They're hanging a number that is, I think, bumped up maybe a 1.5 through weather. I have to take a look at under tonight. Red Sox, Phillies. Twins, Athletics. I don't mind Medina for a strikeout prop parlay piece if you're looking to get involved there. Little bounce back style on the road against Minnesota. Interesting game tonight, Mariners, White Sox. Earlier today, people thought Luis Castillo could be going for Seattle. It turns out to be Hancock, who can be had here, and the White Sox throw their best arm in Crochet. I know DRS, Donnie Rightside, our guy, is looking Chicago here. And if I were to look White Sox, I would look Paul DeJong. Hits, runs, RBIs. I've not played anything yet because you guys know I do like for my lineups. I want to see where guys are going to be hitting. And DeJong, which has now since come out, is batting a little low for me. Batting here down, that's the 6th in this lineup? I'm not sure I can get there. It is a plus price, but I'm not sure I can get there. The other look tonight from a hits, runs, RBI perspective would come on Willie Calhoun if he's going to be in this lineup here tonight. For the LA Angels, Diamondbacks, Angels. This total's 8.5. This game should have juice. Brandon Pfaadt, Griffin Canning. Neither one of these guys are rock stars here. But Willie Calhoun is not in the lineup tonight, and that would have been the target guy for me from LA. So nothing really doing for me there than in that game. Our final game of the night is where the MLB play of the day comes from. Looking to stay red hot. Looking for Mookie Betts to get hot. Mookie Betts falling off a little bit. You know, Mookie Betts, that batting average is dropping. Take a look at those numbers last month or so of baseball. You know, it's a little interesting. We talk NL MVP. He's still holding steady at plus 145 to an NL MVP favorite, but I won't slander too much because I'm looking for greatness out of Mookie Betts tonight. Let's get plus 105 over the 1.5 total bases. Mookie Betts has been excellent all year against righties. I think a little bit better, actually, against the right-handed pitchers than left-handed pitchers. And Michael Lorenz, look, sometimes you got to look for the opposite of what you would expect splits. Lorenzen struggled against righties, despite being one himself. So we want righty-righty matchup our favor. We got Mookie Betts at the top of this Dodger lineup. That could always be 5 ABs. Let's go lead off home run, Mookie Betts. We sprinkled home run as well, but over the 1.5 total bases. That's your MLB play of the day. We're talking some golf next.
crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but you know, the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
It'll be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, you know, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to party in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
All right, we're live right here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh, Brady Cannon with us. Brady, you know, it's so funny. There was a part, the group here, we were talking on Tuesday night, getting, thinking out Thursday show. Are we going to do golf? Do we want to bother Brady on a Thursday? And then we were like, you know what, we probably should. It's a major event. Thank goodness, because I got to tell you, Brady, if you look at the U.S. Open outright market, and then we're tasked with predicting what Scotty's score is, I don't think you'd ever get it right. Plus 550, second best odds. Right now, most likely will go into the clubhouse. T40, 1 over, 6 shots off the lead. What do you make of the start here to the U.S. Open?
Well, obviously, it's disappointing for Scotty backers and for Scotty himself. But I tell you what, if we're going to find a silver lining here, he played about as poorly as we've seen him play in the last 3 months, and he only shot 1 over. I think that's a positive for Scotty backers, Scotty fans, and people that are looking, and for Scotty himself, if he's looking to bounce back in this championship. We haven't seen him play a whole lot worse than he did today. He only hit 6 of 14 fairways. That drive on the 18th hole was probably his best of the day, and then his approach shot wasn't able to get too close. His putting has been pretty average. He's actually gained strokes in most of the areas except for off the tee. He's really set himself up for disaster because he's been finding the sandy waste areas and the wire grass and everything really all day long. Like I say, only 6 of 14 fairways hit all day. And then the putter was, probably a little below average. The scrambling was a little bit below average. He obviously didn't have his A game. I'm not so sure if he had his B game. Might have been about his C+ game. And you're talking about being tied for 40th. He's far from out of this thing. And it was a while back, I want to say 3 or 4 weeks ago, when we were at Colonial Country Club in his nearby home of Fort Worth, Texas, where he started out that day and shot 2 over par and was tied for 79th. He shot 65-63, bouncing back from that, and we know ended up finishing runner-up to Davis Riley. So, and I've often said, for many, many years, pay attention to the results at Colonial because it's a very U.S. Open-like course. And no, it's not like Pinehurst. This is a different monster. But what you need to do at Colonial are similar asks of what you have to do in a U.S. Open. Shape the shots both directions, have a great short game, hole some putts. All those type of skill sets exist at Colonial like they do at most U.S. Opens. So I think if you have a ticket on Scotty like I do, there's still a lot of promise here.
I think there is a distinction, though, and I couldn't agree more. If you bet Scotty before this tournament, no reason to even go into the same room as the panic button.
Right.
However, Brady, his current number I find to be atrocious. I know books have been burnt by this guy before. I know they have no desire to hang him at 10-1 until they think he is completely dead in the water. 6 shots off the lead. If we take a look at the top 4 golfers, I know Patrick Cantlay's not been playing great, but he's top 10 caliber. Ludwig, Rory, and Bryson are all guys that are inside the top 10 best players in the world, I would say, by most of anyone's measure. And he is better odds than all of them other than Rory. Plus 650 is the number that I'm seeing. Brady, again, the pre-tournament bets, it's all fine because he didn't lose a lot of value. I think a current live wager on Scotty Scheffler would be unjustifiable. Am I wrong?
No, I mean, it's the same thing with Rory and all the big stars in this game, or most of the big stars in this game. And you're not probably paying as big of a premium as you normally would on these guys because the field is laden with stars. It's nothing really but stars this week. And some would argue the best field in golf here at the U.S. Open. So, the stars are you're still paying a tax for them, but probably not as much as you usually do. Scotty's 6-1. Let's say he should probably be closer to plus 850 or maybe even 10-1 to win this tournament. Rory's like plus 350. He should probably be more like 5-1. So everybody's probably a little lower than they should be. And I'm sure there's some diamonds in the rough out there as well, but it's probably on some of your lesser knowns rather than these big name stars. Oberg, Rory, and Bryson, I think, are going along beautifully. It's always a little worrisome when a guy starts out so hot to see what they'll do in day 2, how they follow up that round. Cantlay's been so bad this year. I mean, he's had just a handful of good rounds, and he flashed for a minute at Riviera at the Genesis Invitational, but then went south over the weekend there. So, I don't know if I would play any outright bets just yet. If I did, I might play on Scotty because you can't imagine Scheffler's going to play any worse. I know the number's not great, but it's about the best number you've seen on Scotty in quite a while, right? And I think he's only going to turn for the better. I mean, Scotty hits a ton of fairways. He's a very accurate driver of the golf ball, and he only hit 6 out of 14 today. That's got to turn, and these are wide fairways too. And he showed some positivity down the stretch, making a birdie at 17 with a great putt, hitting a great drive on 18. So maybe the worm is starting to turn here a little bit for Scheffler. If I was going to do anything going into Friday, he might be the only guy I would jump on because you've got, twice the number he was going off at pre-tournament. The other guys, I'd be leery. I'd want to wait to see what they do in a follow-up round before I jumped in. If they followed up with another really good day, okay, maybe then you assess and see what you want to do. But this golf course is so difficult, Kevin. They could go out and shoot 80 tomorrow. We saw some guys, flirt with shooting 80 today, and that's, I believe, how difficult this course is.
So I did place a bet on one of these guys near the top, and it is the least popular of the bunch, which is Patrick Cantlay. And listen, again, I know I didn't get the 65 pre-tournament. I don't know how I managed to throw his name up in a last-minute question to you, and then here he is. But so you're right. He's not been good this year, right? And this is in his last 9 tournaments, this is only the 3rd in which his first-round score was under a 70. However, the other 2 tournaments, Brady, the Genesis, T4, RBC Heritage, T3. I threw a little boost on it. Forget the boost. It's currently plus 900. What I've seen from Cantlay this season, and if you look, he's not Pavone, right now, who's first in strokes gained to putting and everything else is not that good. Patrick Cantlay is going to finish at worst top 10 in this tournament, and is currently the round one leader and is being priced like a guy who doesn't have top 10 player in the world caliber in his bag, and I think that's a little bit of a misprice.
I like the analysis there. The only, caveat there that you have to worry about is with the way he's been playing, he could go south in a heartbeat tomorrow. It happens. That's how hard this golf course is. A couple of lucky bounces here, or unlucky, I should say. And the next thing you know, you've made a couple of double bogeys in a row. I mean, he did have some good fortune today. He holed out, he was making putts, everything clicked. And you don't expect that to necessarily hold true 2 days in a row. I mean, if he comes out and shoots 65 again, forget about it. The tournament might be over. And you might have a winning ticket in your pocket. But I don't see that happening. But I still think it's a good play because you're betting on a guy that you're probably getting some value on because how poor his play has been this year. Mm-hmm. You look at those two tournaments, though, Harbor Town and Riviera. Those are courses where he's always played well. Now, he's never missed a cut at a U.S. Open, but this is not a course he plays year after year after year. He didn't even play here in 2014. So jury's out, but I don't think you made a bad play because you're probably, you've got the leader at a better number than you would probably get at anybody else in that position.
And to what Brady said about if we're going off my can't lay round one trend, at the Genesis, round two, after a 64 was a 65, and at Heritage, a 67 was a 66. He does that again, things are going to get interesting. We'll talk about other key guys next.
Crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
It'll be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogeys, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
All right, we're back right here at Game Time Decisions, and as we hit the break, Rory goes into the clubhouse now actually with the co-lead. Another birdie. He plays bogey-free golf here, which, again, considering the way this course has been described, forget the fact that he added 5 birdies. Just playing bogey-free golf feels like quite the accomplishment on this course. What do you make of Rory now a clear favorite at plus 230 to win this tournament?
Well, he played beautifully today, Kevin. Like you say, bogey-free is maybe a bigger accomplishment than we can look across the leaderboard and say anybody else did. I mean, that's really amazing that he went around this track without having a blemish. He was spot on off the tee today. His irons were very, very good. He took some very aggressive lines at some of these pins, and when he did miss, his chipping around the greens was great. He was able to chip one in for a nice birdie early in the round to kind of get him off and running. And the putter didn't disappoint. I mean, he didn't necessarily light it up with the putter, but he was around the hole all day long. I just worry, and like we talked about in the last segment, this golf course is bound to rear its ugly head and bite you at some point. And when you go along so smoothly like that, without a single bogey, you wonder when it's going to come, and it will come. I mean, what you want to avoid are double bogeys, right? I mean, you can handle a bogey here and there because you're probably going to make a birdie here and there. We know 65s are possible. This golf course is only going to probably get more difficult. I don't think we're going to have nearly as much wind. You didn't have a lot of wind today, but you got it in bits and pieces, and every off moment or so, you'd get a gust here, and then it would die. It was very inconsistent. I think for the rest of the tournament, there will be some inconsistent winds, but I think once we get to the weekend, it looks like it's supposed to calm down pretty good. But at the same time, the golf course is probably just going to be getting firmer and faster and becoming more difficult. I think you'll probably see that these first 2 days will play the easiest. So, I can't remember the last time I ever made an outright play in game after just one round. And especially at a tournament like this, where this golf course is so hard because you really don't know what these guys are going to do in day two. It could go, Scotty could shoot 64. Rory could shoot 74. It's possible. You just don't know.
Yeah, to Brady's point, and I can't stress this enough. Perhaps this is the first time you're hearing, Brady and I together talk golf, but basically through the conversations that I've had with Brady, who knows this sport 10 times better than I ever could even dream to know it, I've realized that the stress of me personally figuring out who's winning this tournament before it starts or even after a round isn't worth it. Just gather information. The only reason I made the Cantlay bet is, to me, he is still being priced. I know it's not 65 anymore, but he's still being, what he did in round one isn't being factored into his price, if that makes sense. They're not saying, he has some form to him now. It's, no, this is still a guy that missed the cut at the Memorial. So I thought that was worth it. Here's the question, Brady, and I think they'll ultimately post a new number on this once everybody finishes up here. Give me a range that you would still project this winning score to be after watching a day of golf.
I tell you what, it might be 5 under par. You'll probably see guys get to 6, maybe get to, this might be the apex because, like I said, the golf course is going to get more difficult. The pre-tournament number was, and it depends on where you were shopping, but anywhere from 4.5 to 5.5 under par for a winning score. I know a lot of guys that were interviewed in this tournament, when they were asked, would you take, if we said, okay, you've played 4 rounds and we're going to give you 1 under par, would you take it for a final score? Some of them said yes, 1 under. I know some other guys said, hey, what do you, or when they were asked the question, a similar question, but asked differently, what do you think the winning score would be? A lot of guys said 4 or 5. I think that's still pretty close to accurate. Maybe you get to 8, but I don't think we're going to deviate from the 5s today too much. I don't necessarily think we'll come back, but I don't think we're going to double digits either.
I believe the over-under was 5.5, if I'm not mistaken,
4.5 or 5.5
for a winning score.
Yeah, depending on where you shop, 4.5 or 5.5.
I am hoping there is and I think there has to be a move. The dream, and maybe it's a pipe dream, is 7.5 and play it lower. I don't see the winning score here being 8, 9, especially Brady, and this I think you would agree with. The only guy that was going to realistically shoot 9, 10 under at this course was Scotty. And
Right.
now that feels out of range, I think you're low. I agree with you. The tournament score is lower. Anyone we haven't talked about that you're keeping your eye on here for this tournament?
I really liked the way Colin Morikawa finished his round, and I thought maybe Scotty was going to do the same. Morikawa holed out for birdie on 17 and then made a bomb of a putt on 18, and he was very stoked about it because he was really grinding hard all day long and, would make a birdie, then would make a bogey, and then had it to 2 over par. After all that hard work he'd done, had it to 2 over par heading into 17, and then finishes birdie, and he felt like, boy, I could have lost the tournament on day one, but I didn't with those last 2 holes that I played, and he's right back in the mix, and he's pretty much right at his pre-tournament number, around 22-1. I have him at 20-1. I know he closed closer to 14, 16, 17-1, but basically he's right around that pre-tournament number, 5 shots off the pace. But I like the way he finished in a flurry. Colin Morikawa there, I still think is very much alive. Bryson played great today. And the driver has certainly been a weapon for Bryson, as it always is. But he was able to find a lot of fairways. His chipping game was on. Again, you just wonder how it'll go for him tomorrow. I think O'Baird was another guy who played beautifully, flawlessly, hit every green in regulation. But how will it go tomorrow? When you play that flawlessly, it's not bound to carry over for consecutive days.
Yeah, and this has been the warning. If this course is going to be as hard as it is, all these great scores could look way different tomorrow. Brady, incredible stuff. As always, we're talking Finals MVP next.
Crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
It'll be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
Back with you here on SportsGrid. It's Game Time Decisions. We're in the fold. We're in the mix. We got to talk a little NBA Finals MVP. We do have some WNBA action that's upcoming. Caitlin Clark is in action once again at home against the Atlanta Dream. I am a little interested in your Vegas Aces game later on tonight against the Phoenix Mercury. So a couple of spots in the W to keep your eye on. I believe the other game tonight is going to be Seattle and Dallas. But that Aces spread dropping 6, down to 5.5. This is a number that Vegas was laying to a great Minnesota Lynx team. I know the Mercury have been good at home, but I am pretty interested in laying that number with Vegas. Maybe a parlay piece if that's how you're looking to get involved with your night. Vegas has lost 3 in a row for the first time in the Becky Hammon era as their head coach. 4 out of the last 5. A loss tonight would send them under 500 and I believe match last year's total losses or regular season losses. It would be a real stunning result, I feel, if Vegas couldn't put another win up on the board. We're going to talk with Joe Madden in just a little bit. She's going to help us get settled here in for some Major League Baseball picks as well as game number 3 of that Stanley Cup final. But before we do any of that, NBA Finals MVP. Here's your updated market. Jaylen Brown, minus 340. Tatum is at plus 270. And then kind of name your price. Luka is very similar, a little bit longer, but still similar to the money line or for the Mavericks to win the series. What I would say is I, at this point, would much prefer to play Luka 29 than Dallas 20. I don't think either bet is really worth playing. It's just, if we found ourselves at a 7th game, there'd be a conversation around Luka. There really would be, even in a loss. I don't know if voters will ever be willing to have enough of a conversation to give that, considering Zach Edey was never discussed for most outstanding player back in March Madness when he was obviously the most outstanding player. And so they gave it to whoever had a good game for UConn. But Luka winning Finals MVP, to me, is as, if not more likely than the Mavericks winning this series. Now, the Drew Holiday numbers have dropped. Kristaps with the injury, no chance. It's a 2-man race. It's Jaylen Brown, it's Jason Tatum. Here is the incredible thing about this number now being at minus 340. When we were at halftime of Game 3, Jason Tatum had flipped to minus money to win Finals MVP. I believe around minus 150 on FanDuel. Jaylen Brown had 6 points at half. Going into Game 3, Jaylen Brown had led Jason Tatum in points scored for the series by 9. Tatum was sitting there on 20 points in that first half. Tatum had not only closed the gap, he had created a gap and had a chance to extend on it. Well, your side-by-side statistics now shine incredibly favorably on Jaylen Brown. Tatum had a lackluster second half, specifically fourth quarter. He entered the fourth quarter with 27 points. He had a dunk and then made 2, free throws to get to 31. Well, Jaylen Brown played one of the greatest halves of his life with 24 second-half points. So the gap now in points per game does feel more substantial. You have rebounds and assists for Jaylen Brown up. They're not Tatum level. Tatum's rebounds dropping, though, all of a sudden. And the efficiency gap here is madness. Here's the reality. I was wrong. I said that Jason Tatum to win Finals MVP was the way to play Boston to win this series. I had no doubt the Celtics were winning the Finals. I trusted them the whole way here. I loved the matchup. And specifically for Tatum. But he couldn't get it going in Game 1, and that was supposed to be the bad Tatum game. And then he was awful efficiency-wise in Game 2. But a near triple-double was looking like it could save the day. The danger was JB didn't have a breakout game yet, and his breakout game came at the same time as Tatum's offensive breakout game, except Tatum's stopped and he was inefficient again. If I had a vote, it obviously would go to Jaylen Brown. However, I don't have a vote, and Tatum is still only 8 points away from leading this team in points, rebounds, and assists. I would not bet Jaylen Brown at minus 340. Tatum is still live in Finals MVP, whether he deserves to be or not. Joe Madden joins us next here on SportsGrid.
crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but you know, the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
Be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, you know, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
All right, we're live with you right here on SportsGrid. And we've got Joe Madden join us on Game Time Decision. Joe, baseball, hockey, plenty to get to. How's the board look tonight?
The board's looking absolutely fantastic. And if you didn't know, Kevin, Connor McDavid is wearing all black tonight. We saw how the New York Rangers looked when they wore black versus the Florida Panthers. I don't know if this is a good sign or not. We saw Connor McDavid the last 5 games wear a gray jacket. So if you're putting anything into what Connor McDavid's wearing, there you go. He's wearing all black.
Let me investigate the scene here quickly. All black. All right, Connor McDavid. Now, see, I don't know if things are different in Canada. Maybe they are. But all black is for a funeral.
Exactly.
Now, considering they are down 2-0, the only team that would be near a funeral would be his Oilers. So, the only read on this situation is McDavid has given his own team no chance. I do not like the move at all. Do you?
No, I don't at all, because that's what I mean. That last game for the New York Rangers versus the Florida Panthers, they all showed up in black as well. They knew it was their funeral out there, and the Florida Panthers were going to get that win. So I'm not loving this sign here for Connor McDavid tonight here, Kevin. It's not good, and he's super superstitious. He wears the same socks, apparently, to every single game.
All right. Interesting. So McDavid's a little rattled. We'll get to the hockey in a minute, Joe. People are looking for baseball picks here, especially with an exciting Mets-Marlins game on the horizon. I know it's not Nationals baseball. That already happened earlier today. But what do you think about these two NL East teams?
You know, you look at the Miami Marlins here, and they're so strong on get-off days. It's hard to look past that money line at plus 168 for them. But I just can't do it with Munoz getting the start here. He's absolutely struggled. Over his last 3, he's been completely lit up, and I do think the Mets will get the runs on him. But Severino, I also think the Marlins have a fighting chance against. So I'm just going to take the over 8.5 in this matchup, Kevin. I think the runs are coming nicely in this one tonight.
Love it. I'm on the Marlins team total here, over 3.5. I think Severino's in a bit of a blow-up spot after going 8 innings of work his last time out. Joe, what about this Phillies-Red Sox game here? Aaron Nola against Tanner Houck. Anything you like?
Yeah, this game's going to be the exact opposite of the last. I think runs are really going to come at a premium in this one. I love what Tanner Houck has been able to do. And it's Aaron Nola coming out here for the Phillies. I think both of these pitchers come out nice and phenomenally strong. I'm going to look at the Nerfy in this one, Kevin. That's coming in at minus 120. And I do think you also play on the under 8.5. I trust these bullpens to keep these teams in these games in a lower scoring one. So the under 8.5 at minus 114 and the Nerfy at minus 120. Nola's he's got to have a really strong day. I do lean on the Phillies to be able to get the win as well.
It's another agreement here for me. I'm on the under in this game. I understand the weather is dangerous, but these are still great pitchers. So I agree once again, Joe. I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign. I guess we'll find out. What about Minnesota and Oakland here? Joe Ryan has the baseball. Twins a really big favorite in this game.
Oh, and they deserve to be a really big favorite here with Joe Ryan getting the start. He's been phenomenally strong. Now, his strikeout number is coming in at 7.5. It is high to the over 7.5. You're having to lay the juice at minus 132. But I do think he can get this on the Oakland A's. I don't think that's the best bet, though. I'm looking at his outs. I'm expecting him to pitch a full 7 innings here because the A's are going to struggle to hit off of him. So the over 18.5 outs coming in nicely at plus 136. We've seen him be able to get 21 outs in a couple of the last games out. And I do think this A's team, they're just going to have a hard day hitting off of Joe Ryan. Joe Ryan coming in here with a 3.30 ERA, and he's being decent at home. That number's a little bit higher, but I don't trust the Oakland A's here. They're striking out at a rate of 28.4% this season. So I think those strikeouts are coming for them. Those outs are coming for them, and they're going to show their struggles tonight.
All right, so we're looking at some interesting spots there for Joe Ryan. Continuing to move through this baseball board here, Joe. We've got the White Sox and Crochet going against the Mariners, and this number on Chicago's been dropping throughout the day. What do you feel about this game in the Pacific Northwest?
Well, Garrett Crochet is not a pitcher that I want to fade at the moment. He's been phenomenal out here for the Chicago White Sox. He's definitely their ace. He's 5-1 in his last 7 starts for them, and that ERA is a 1.10. I do look for him to come out here and have a strong performance versus the Seattle Mariners. I think he really can limit the bats. I do think he can get his strikeouts on the board as well, and he can get the Chicago White Sox to win in the first 5 innings. Now, that's coming in the first 5 straight up on the money line, right around that plus 150 earlier. It might have moved a little bit, but I do think that first 5 is the only place you look because I don't trust the bullpen here of the Chicago White Sox. And I do think once it turns over to the bullpen, the Seattle Mariners have every opportunity to get back in this game and be able to record the win. Luis Castillo getting the start here for them. And I'm going to circle Julio Rodriguez again for that home run. I've been playing him the last couple games, waiting for it to pay off. It's at plus 600, and we know the White Sox bullpen gives up those home runs a lot, Kevin.
Yeah, certainly an interesting spot there to back these Chicago White Sox. I know people have been on them throughout the day. I also I'm going to just sneak this in here, but I know the Trevor Lawrence deal has come out since we've been on air. I don't know if you've had any eyes on this, Joe. How in the world did he get the highest contract in NFL history per year? I'm kind of taking this in while we're having this conversation, but Trevor Lawrence is not coming off a great season. I know ultimately Jacksonville was always going to pay him. Maybe I'm an obvious uptick that happened in the salary cap. Maybe the years, maybe the guaranteed money. I don't know. It just feels like the negotiations for Jacksonville here weren't favorable. That's odd. That's odd, Joe. I don't know if you have any quick thoughts on Trevor Lawrence making all that money.
Yeah, I'm shocked. To be honest with you, I am shocked because Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback, but he's not a fantastic quarterback. But I do think you look at these quarterbacks going into these negotiations now these days, the threat to leave, what's Jacksonville going to do without Trevor Lawrence is my biggest question mark. So these quarterbacks have the upper hand because look at last season, Kevin, look at all the injuries and look at those backup quarterbacks having to step in. I do think Trevor Lawrence was their best option out there. So I understand why they paid him, and I'm a big believer in paying these athletes, but you're telling me he got the highest paying contract of a quarterback out there right now? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Wow.
Trevor, apparently.
Trevor
all right,
Lawrence.
sure. Shout out Trevor Lawrence. Dinner and drinks on him. Joe, we'll close it out before we get to the hockey. Dodgers, Rangers. LA off a loss. Corey Seager made it happen last night for Texas. What do you think about game number 3 of this series?
Dodgers will answer back. I really do think in this one, Kevin, they're going to come out nice and hard. I do think they come out, win this one, and cover that run line. I'm going to lay the 1.5 on the run line at plus 108. You've got to trust in the bullpen here of the Dodgers. They're phenomenally strong, and I think Michael Grove can do enough coming out in this one to really limit Texas in this one. I see a couple more runs coming for Texas, but the majority of the runs coming for the Dodgers. So give me the Dodgers on the run line here in this one.
Yeah, and listen, I'm all about the Dodgers tonight with Mookie Betts being my MLB play of the day. Over the total bases, 1.5 at plus 105. Mookie in a great matchup here. He's been smashing righties throughout this year. Lorenzen going for Texas has really struggled against right-handed bats. Kind of the opposite of, the old saying there, righty-lefty, don't worry about that. Let's look at what the numbers are telling us, and the numbers are telling us that Mookie has plenty of success against righties, and Lorenzen is really struggling against guys on that side of the dish. And Mookie's power this season has been really prolific against righties and at home. I don't mind that home run shot there tonight. I think you could see plus 400, maybe a little bit better in the market. We're hitting a break. Joe Madden's going to stick around. We're going to talk some hockey. Panthers, Oilers, what do we do with this game? We'll answer that on the other side.
Crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
It'll be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to party in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
All right, let's break it down. We're taking a look at the Stanley Cup final game number 3. Edmonton, season on the line, Connor McDavid in all black. Does that mean under? I'm not so sure. Let's see if Joe Madden has the answers. Joe, what do you see here? Are you betting this total in game 3 between the Oilers and the Panthers?
Yeah, I'm absolutely looking at this total here. I really do think the late travel by the Florida Panthers will have an adverse effect on this team defensively and goaltending wise. And I look at how strong Edmonton has been at home in Rogers Place, being able to score 2 or more goals in all 9 of their playoff games at home. And I'm expecting those goals to come. Now, if I'm expecting Edmonton to be able to score on Bobrovsky, I know the Florida Panthers can score on Skinner. They've already proven that they can get these goals on him. So that 5, Kevin, the 5.5, I have to take it to the over. I think this is a game that could finish even 3-3 going to overtime with 7 goals. I think it's the high scoring game people have been waiting for.
All right, that would be exciting, and it would certainly help parlay players here. If it's going to be a high-scoring game, Joe, then who can find the back of the net or assists or points? Who are you looking for in the props market?
I know Connor McDavid is wearing black tonight, Kevin, but I do think he's pivotal for his team. Leon Draisaitl looks a little beaten up out there, and we've got question marks around Darnell Nurse, if he will be playing, Evander Kane, if he's going to be out there on the ice. He only played, just under 11 minutes in game 2. He's beaten up. So Connor McDavid really needs to come out here so strong in this game. Connor McDavid for the anytime goal is coming in at plus 135. I did sprinkle on him for a hat trick, Kevin. It's at plus 5,000. I couldn't say no. Everyone is putting that doubt on the Edmonton Oilers tonight. I still don't know if they can get the win. But with that doubt, Edmonton has feasted off of that doubt throughout the playoffs so far. We saw it versus the Vancouver Canucks and the Dallas Stars. When their backs were against the wall, they came out playing their best hockey. So I do think you look at Connor McDavid here. Evan Bouchard is a nice look as well for the Edmonton Oilers. He's going to get more playtime with Darnell Nurse off the ice if he is. And when we look at the Florida Panthers, Matthew Tkachuk absolutely has to step up in this game. He's coming in at plus 230 for the anytime goal. There has been so much back and forth hits between him and Connor McDavid that I do think both of these players will want to outshine the other. And a long shot, Brandon Montour of the Florida Panthers for that anytime goal. I've been watching him. He's coming in at plus 600. The point is coming in at plus 164. Offensive defenseman. And I think he has every ability. And then back to Connor McDavid. We know Barkov is going to be out there on the ice. That was the biggest question mark with the Florida Panthers, as well as Tarasenko. Barkov is the best two-way player out there. I still don't think he's at 100%. So if Connor McDavid has just one step on him in this matchup here, Connor McDavid should be able to get free. So I'm big on Connor McDavid tonight. I hate that he wore all black into this, but maybe it's the opposite of a funeral for him. Hopefully. Hopefully, Kevin.
I will say the best players in the world, when they go for a statement like that, it is usually a good sign, so I don't mind that. I did an Edmonton parlay of just all their top 4 guys for a point, Joe, which is around 2-1. They just kind of got to get on a score sheet here. But I, tonight, stole from the Joe Madden playbook. 60-minute money line tie. I took OT here, plus 340, Joe. I don't think we leave this series without a game at least making overtime here. I thought plus 340 was a pretty good number to play it at.
Oh, it's a fantastic number at plus 340 for the overtime bet. I'm all over it, Kevin. It's a fantastic way to take this game. Edmonton is going to come with all guns a-blazing in this one. And there's so many incredible series long bets. If you're looking for those overtimes, you're looking at these teams to really battle it out, especially in that last 30 seconds. I found one over on FanDuel, and it was like a goal to tie it up, to push it to overtime in that last 30 seconds at plus 1120 during the series. They're still available, and we know these two teams, both of them have been able to do that in their previous series. So I do think this one has every ability to go overtime. I love that bet. I'm also looking for a quick goal in this one, Kevin. We saw in the first 2 games that first shot for one of these teams score. So in the first game, it was the Florida Panthers scored that first goal over Hagee, was able to get it. And then in that last game, Edmonton was able to score on their first shot on goal as well. So the goal in the first 5 minutes coming in at plus 200, I think is another solid way to take it.
I will say, you just look through it, and the only series that either team played without an overtime game was Florida against Boston. And there were plenty of close games in that series, so we're going to be in range. You mentioned some series specials there, Joe. Have you looked at any of the player numbers available? I haven't played this yet, but Evan Rodriguez to lead this series in goals is plus 140. Currently right now on 3 goals. And I don't believe, unless I've missed anything here, I don't think we have any other skaters right now with multiple goals in this series. It's a sizable gap for what could be a short series.
It is a sizable gap, but 3 goals, 2 of those goals in that last game, Kevin. My problem with Evan Rodriguez here is he's not one of the big scorers for the Florida Panthers. So I do think it's only 3 goals. Other players have 1, and yes, they might not get in the mix, but you still got Connor McDavid here. And this is a player you can always count on to be able to come back in any of these kind of competitions here for the most goals, for the most points. He's at plus 1,000 right now. And with me sprinkling on him for the hat trick tonight, knowing that he absolutely has to stand up, that's the only way I could put my money for the leading goal scorer in this one would be Connor McDavid. We've seen some of those games, him play phenomenally well. Evan Rodriguez, if this was a player like Matthew Tkachuk or Barkov, I would be all over it. But Evan Rodriguez, I don't know. I just don't have that faith in him, Kevin.
There is a bet out there for McDavid to lead this series in points at plus 210. He has won, obviously trailing, but it's Connor McDavid, and the expectation is always a multi-point game is right around the corner. Joe, we appreciate it as always. Best of luck with tonight's action.
Best of luck, everyone. Kevin, good luck with your parlay. I think you got a winner there.
All right, thank you very much. Up next, college baseball. What has this show come to? I bet 1 Tennessee Evansville under. I lose a Georgia NC State over. And next thing you know, they're writing college baseball is rad on this show. And we're sneaking in the Euros. It's all happening next.
Crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but you know the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
It'll be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, you know, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to par in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogeys, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
Game time decisions, my oh my, college baseball Euro 2024. Now, let me tell you this. I am far more equipped to talk Euro 2024 than I am college baseball. But I know people are excited about Omaha. I have my surface level understanding of what's happening. You can always read a board, see where some value is. Euro 2024, I think it is far more likely I'm going to be in the mix in some spots. That tournament does begin tomorrow, and it's only one game. Standalone, I believe, Germany, Scotland. So there's plenty of time to let that board develop and find some really great opportunities there. College World Series begins tomorrow as well. Let's start with the outright market here. The Tennessee Volunteers, prices vary book to book. On FanDuel, the favorite at plus 260. It goes SEC, SEC, SEC 350 A&M, and then Kentucky is plus 470. Now, after going through this extensively, you have two brackets. Everything's kind of double elimination here. Now, if you want to section this off, Tennessee is paired with North Carolina, Florida State, and Virginia. All right? Now, that puts the number one team in this entire tournament out in Omaha up against three ACC teams. But what that means, that's bracket one. Down in bracket two, you have A&M, Kentucky, and Florida against North Carolina State. Take a look at the price here for the Conference of Champions. It's almost a little ode to the Pac-12 with the phrasing of this here. SEC minus 260, I got a FanDuel number. This is hanging around under minus 200 over on DK. I've not placed this yet. I am not sure, and this is just where, again, as honest as always, am I really going to lay minus 195 on a college baseball bet? I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's where I want to be. However, I don't see any world NC State ends up the representative against three SEC teams at the bottom of the bracket. So I'm going to the championship game. And it's an SEC head-to-head battle if the number one team in this entire tournament in Tennessee makes it to the championship. That's a very tempting number. It is. I will say, listening to our very own Ben Scott Stevens here, BSS, he's on the Vols to win this tournament. The interesting thing was the caveat he provided that since they started ranking these teams, the number one team has never won at Omaha, which is Tennessee. That goes back to 1999. It's kind of been a year of chalk. If you look at a lot of our winners this year out throughout the big sports spots, Michigan kind of became the favorite pretty early on in that dance. The Chiefs win the Super Bowl. I know the Niners were favored, but come on, everybody was on Kansas City, right? Realistically. March Madness goes to UConn. The Masters went to Scotty Scheffler. Real Madrid won the Champions League. The Celtics are going to win the NBA championship. It's kind of been a year of favorites. I am tempted, if I do not play just the SEC standalone, I will have a piece of Tennessee and a piece of Kentucky to win the College World Series. Euro 2024. Now, England is favored again. Is it coming home? Jude Bellingham's a rock star. It would probably be appropriate that Harry Kane, who just cannot win anything at the club level, I mean, going from Tottenham to Bayern Munich, and Bayern, who's their trophy machine, has their first trophyless season as soon as Harry Kane shows up. It's just insane. But that being Harry Kane's first trophy being a European championship like this, maybe it would be fitting. They're certainly as talented as it gets in this tournament. The early scan value, though, I think you can make a pretty good argument on Belgium at 21-1. If you look at a lot of these groups here, there's minus money favorites. England in theirs, France, Germany, Portugal, and then Belgium. Spain is favored in their group, but at an even price. So if you look at these teams that are, again, minus favorites within their group, 350, 390, 40, plus 440, plus 650, 21-1. Even if you say Belgium's not as good as those teams, I have a minus 170 price on Belgium to win a group, which means they're huge favorites to get to the round of 16. So if I'm getting to the round of 16, I win a game. Maybe they're a slight dog. Nevertheless, it's on the board. At 21-1, I'm interested in Belgium. I haven't played yet. Golden boot price, just to put it up there for you. Mbappe's the favorite. There's Harry Kane. Cristiano Ronaldo's 12. You got to like Portugal if you're going to get involved here. Lukaku, 14. I will just say, Giroud always feels like he finds a way. 27-1 is that price there for the Frenchman up top. We'll keep tabs on it all for you. We've got Dave Showerpen up next right here. It's Game Time Decisions.
Crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but you know, the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
It'll be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, you know, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a good switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
Back with you right here. We're in the mix. We're in the fold. We're making it happen. We're live on a Thursday night. Kevin Walsh joined by Dave Showerpan. Now, we just talked College World Series on the show. It's the only possible reason you're wearing UNC stuff on this Thursday. Am I correct?
Well, yeah, because by the time I get to see you tomorrow, we'll have already played this game. So absolutely, we'll stay in the mix. I heard the SEC versus the ACC discussion and all of that. I see you working. It is the year of the chalk. I don't know if that will apply here. BSS is on Tennessee. Okay. I like the North Carolina. They got some magic working. They got a really hard game. They're favored, but Virginia could beat them. The road to this thing through the losers bracket, if you lose the first game, it's really, really tough. But that was a good nugget that you provided with BSS, and the favorite doesn't win. Maybe we'll get a sport where the favorite doesn't win. This will be it.
Yeah, right. I think it's on the board. I think it's really interesting, just kind of the format there. I mean, it almost doesn't make sense in a way because it's not single elimination, right? Like you have to beat Tennessee twice, and if Tennessee is able to get into the final game of the bracket without a loss on the plate, you have to then beat them 2 consecutive.
You got to beat them twice.
Which is a task, you would imagine. UNC minus 130 in their game against Virginia.
Yeah.
You want my I don't know a thing read? The numbers look light on the favorites.
I love these. Yeah, they are light on the favorites.
it looks like they're expecting upset. People are betting dog. But, like, these numbers look light.
Oh, without a question.
Interesting.
When you get to this point, you get the neutral site. So doing the numbers takes away all the home field and all of that stuff with the super regionals and the road to it. And then apparently the wind is a big thing at the stadium. And you have to be aware that if a team gets hot for a couple innings, I mean, the guys that know college baseball is rad will tell you that there will be bombs, there will be home runs, there'll be overs.
We like that.
So I think from the oddsmaker standpoint, always tread lightly. I got a guy that'll be on BVB tomorrow who did the numbers for us here in the book for years, and he's a college baseball guru. He knows second, third, and fourth pitchers. I'll have a little more insight into the weekend after I talk to him tomorrow.
Speaking of tasks in the room, when a Euro comes around like this, just since we just put them together, you guys got to grab a soccer guy, not much handle, round of 16. How's that work?
It depends. It really does. You get a lot of people that like to bet their country, and they come in and bet the USA. And I mean, I don't want to say I felt dirty, but I used to sit in when the World Cup would come up and things like that, and people would come up, and didn't matter what price we gave them on the USA, they would bet it, and they would bet it, and then they would bet it more. And the USA's never won, at least that I know of. So we made a lot of money on the local stuff. Now, there were always 3 or 4 countries that got the most handle, and they probably are the favorites in this. I haven't even begun to look.
Yeah.
The time change and everything with the stuff on the West Coast and Vegas, it was always a challenge. While England is the odds-on favorite, oh, boy.
Yeah.
All right, come on. We got to fade that, right?
They got a good team.
They ever win?
They got a good team. They got a good
team. I know,
team.
they always do.
You're the favorite, though.
Yeah.
Could be chalk.
I've seen it before.
I don't know.
The France, the Germany, and I would, looking at that list, they'll probably jump Portugal and go right to Spain. Those would be the top 3 betting favorites. Netherlands is always a popular choice. Is this wide open? I have not talked any soccer guys or anything yet. I'm working on the cricket at night. Apparently cricket's the next big thing. So I've been trying to learn about the wickets and the cricket. Oh,
hey.
I've heard.
Hey, no. Hey. I know you're an ear to the ground guy, right? Remember when they told you F1 was the next big thing?
That I deny.
All right?
Okay. All right.
All right? Cricket is not the next big thing. All right? That's okay.
I've been told.
Let's not waste time. Let's not waste. Hey, now if you had that USA upset that happened like a week or so ago.
Huh?
I mean, were they even booking that thing? Get into the esports before you get into the cricket. Come on.
I can't do the esports, Kevin. I can't do it.
I can't do the cricket, though.
Feels like it can be manipulated. The wickets and everything, I'm not with. The cricket, I feel like we got a shot. We can book it kind of straight up.
Okay. All right, I'll take that. I'll give you another one. Local. They coming in and they bet in Vegas tonight. 3-game losing streak against the Phoenix Mercury. Shortest number Vegas has laid all year, I think, possibly. 5.5 on the road.
Can you tell the people about the W and what's going on with the Aces? They're not right. It's not right.
Well,
they keep doing it. And I watched the last 2 games. They were huge favorites against Seattle. And then the last game, who was it? The Lynx, I believe it was.
Yep.
They were.
Oh, yeah.
They were favorites again. Wrong side the whole time. Never the right side watching the game.
Right.
Now, this number's suspiciously low. Like, tell me why.
It's dropping. Mercury 4-1 at home. Have a win this year over Vegas. But you got the Mercury going up 2-1 season series. Aces losing their 4th consecutive. Here's what it is, Dave, for me. It's a classic can't lose again spot. But usually we worry about those, I'll tell you this. It was sitting, and it's moved a little cents lower. It was minus 260, the Aces money line. A little one of those profit boosts. Could take it down to minus 200, and I was just going to let it ride. They're not losing the game. And let's not overthink this. It's one of those games where Vegas, I'll tell you this right now, they're not winning this game by 3. And I know that that's not some type of limb for people, but they have 2 wins this year following a loss, and I believe both are by 14+. So
okay.
If the Aces do bounce back, I mean, this should be dominant. But can I just, I'm going to keep saying this because I can't, it is one of the most fascinating things. Aja Wilson, preseason favorite to win MVP.
Yep.
Has proceeded to have, it's early, is on pace for one of the greatest single seasons individually the league has ever seen. Vegas is the first or second biggest underachiever in the WNBA. It's them or the Fever. Based on early season. Dave, they're 5-5.
I know.
Like,
the locals here
I know that
don't even know what to do. Like, they've been so good in the regular season. It's been a precursor to the end. And they're talking about on the local news, like, what is going on? It's hilarious. And in the books, you're actually getting dog play against them, where for the last 2 years it's been 70% or more on the home team. So
rightfully so.
Right.
Listen, if they lose tonight, do you know what they finished last year? 40 games? You have any idea what that record was, Dave?
6 losses or 7 losses, something like that, right?
6. They'd match last year's loss total. By the way, you want to go big? They lost 1 playoff game. This team lost 7 games regular and postseason last year. I guess the Commissioner Cup game didn't count, so you call it 8.
Wow.
5 losses. There are 5 losses.
Celtics have only lost 2 playoff games.
They have. And apparently, oh boy, we'll get there. We'll talk some NBA. I already said my piece at the beginning of the show. I don't know if I need to say it again. It feels like it feels like I'm not even on Boston. It's incredible. We'll be right back.
Crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but you know, the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
To be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, you know, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
All right, let's tap into third base coach Dave Sharapan for a moment.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hitters 7 and 8 in the lineup go single. You throwing the bunt sign on for the 9-hitter? All right.
Yeah.
Now,
do we have?
if
do
you
we have
throw
righty,
it on
righty?
and he pops,
Are we righty? Are we righty lefty? I mean, do we got a shot at just getting it on the right side? Or
we have our
depends on the matchup,
right-handed.
but I think we bunt.
We have a right-handed catcher batting $150 up against the right-handed pitcher. We're bunting.
Lay it down. Get it down.
All right.
Bunt.
Now, if you put the bunt sign on and they bunt pop out to the pitcher, what do? We live with that?
We
I
have
don't know
to.
if we can live with that.
I
can't live
mean,
with
we're
that.
not happy about this. We have to
I
have a
can't live with that.
discussion in between innings going, look, if you're going to hit 150, you need to be able to get a bunt down when it's time. If you're not going to get the bunt down, we might have to sit down on the bench and get the other catcher in there. Because I know you're good defensively, but we can't have this happen.
Here's what in the NBA, when guys are bad at free throws, right? People are like, how are you bad at free throws, right? It's like, well, the guy's 7'1", and it's a miracle he can get up and down a court, and like shooting is not even something he's allowed to do. Like a free throw line is the furthest attempt all game. When you bat 153, quite frankly, what the heck else are you practicing? Because there's no dunks, right? So what is it that you're doing for me, batting $153? You should probably only be practicing bunting at that point.
At that point, you better be a good bunter. If you're a 153 hitter, you better be able to bunt at least a sack bunt. And you better be a Gold Glover, because that's the only reason you're in the lineup. It ain't for your stick.
Maldonado's out of the lineup today. Isn't that a big story? White Sox catcher with that .7 batting average, I think. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, he's batting 0.78, Martin Maldonado. You know what happens?
He's good behind the plate, though. He prevents all those pass balls and everything. So, hey.
No, but I just want to let people know, here's how much of a cheating organization the Astros are. This guy batted 191 last year with Houston, right? So, basically, even in Houston, you can raise that batting average 100 points with those trash cans. What clowns? They should cancel that whole organization. All right, now I'm not going to yell at you about the NBA because that's irrelevant. I don't need to yell at you. It's not your fault that people don't understand what's going on when they're watching the games. What I'd like to know is what you think about the Stanley Cup Final.
Yeah.
Oilers, Panthers, and what you're seeing here. You told me you would be on Edmonton.
Yes. I'm confirming that. As of right now, pregame, I like Edmonton to get the win in Game 3. It doesn't mean I like them to win the series, but you could take an advance price and find a nice plus, because if they win, it goes back down to closer to the pre-series price. But Florida's still up. I don't know. I've been looking at stuff, and it looks like everybody's playing. I don't know how healthy Barkov is, but another under is screaming out. And I know you want the juice. I know you want the game to be dead, and I thought it might be. But I'm getting closer to game time, and I'm going. It's going to be just like Digital Underground sang back in the 1991 year. It's the same song. It's the same song. Google that one, K-Dub. That's good for the walk. Put the one on in the headphones. You'll like it. It's good. Yeah.
I got to start walking more, so I might have some time for that. Now, for me tonight in this game here, you know, it's so funny because going back to Edmonton, we've constantly said, hey, get back to Edmonton, expect the goals.
Yes.
And this is the first time going into this series my thought is under.
Yep.
But I can't bet it at this price.
Can't?
I can't.
Won't?
Now, here's why.
No? Please.
I'm thinking 3-2. It's a coin flip game. I'm thinking we land 5. I played OT here tonight, Dave. Plus 340. I played the OT. I played the OT now. Did you get there?
I like this. I like this tonight. This actually, I said this today to Peralt, and I'm going to say it to Ranieri. Ranieri's going to have this. He's been playing this a lot. This has paid off. This is the game that it's very possible, because if Florida gets the lead, I almost want it to happen because then Edmonton comes on, ties it, and says, we're at home playing for OT. Let's go. Let's, take our chances. We get there. The line should be huge. You're going to David and Draisaitl with some open space. Let's go.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm looking for OT. I think it's a coin flip. And then, I'll tell you in a second, I almost called you the other day at like 8:05 for a confirmation on something, but I ultimately made the right decision. I'll explain in a minute. I went with the Edmonton top 4 parlay. McDavid, Draisaitl, Bouchard, Hyman, plus 197, all to record a point. This parlay has a 5-4 record. It has a 5-4 record, which means it's a winner at this juice. I get a split out of the Edmonton games. It's the right play. I'm here for this game. I'll play it again Saturday if it's a loss. If it's a win tonight, I don't know if I'll run it back, actually. I don't know if I'll run it back, but I'm here tonight, and I'll play it tonight.
Did you do the octopus? Yes.
Yes, that's what I was going to call you about. You tell me what you would have done.
If you hit this tonight, you may have to roll with the octopus tomorrow.
Hold on. You tell me the ruling, and I'll tell you what I ultimately did. One of the legs of the octopus had hit so consistently and by so much, it was OTB. So the parlay was different now.
Oh, no.
Do you still play it knowing it's no longer the same thing? Do you take Drew Holiday 1.5 rebounds was OTB? It was 2.5 now. Do you still play it and run the risk of the original octopus hitting, but it no longer being available, and he lands 2 boards?
You have to play it. Yes.
I'll tell you what I did then after the break. I will tell you exactly what I did after the break. And maybe I'm realizing there was some karma in the air. I'll explain all to Dave in just a moment. We'll be right back.
Crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
It'll be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to par in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
This guy. Put it on my card. Minus 2,200. Drew Holiday, 3 boards. Landed 4. All right. Let's do this quickly.
Yep.
So the Octopus had a moving leg. We were sitting 0-2, 6-2 game 1, 7-1 game 2. I had a decision to make.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the Drew Holiday rebound number, when I crafted the Octopus, was the one that I actually spent the most time on, because I could have put it in at 2.5. But at 1.5, it had been a winner every game. So that being the leg to move was a bit horrifying. So hand up, I did not play the Octopus last night.
Oh, man.
Now.
Don't tell me it won.
Dave.
Don't tell me.
It lost.
Oh.
It lost.
Okay.
Kyrie misses the assist number by 1. 7-1 again. However, Dave, it is not all good news.
Oh,
now, quickly, I almost called you last night, 8-10. Legitimately, I was like, do I bet the Octopus? You're the only, literally, there is one person on the planet who, if I make that phone call, would have understood what I was talking about, and it would have been you.
100%.
But the thing is, you would have, and I was right, you would have said yes, and I didn't want to bet it. Here's the problem, though, Dave. It was not all good. I had another parlay last night. Did you, by chance, stumble across this online?
Uh-oh. No, I did not. I don't like the sounds of this at all.
4 guys. Tatum, 30-plus. Gets the 31. Jaylen Brown, 30-plus. 30. Kyrie, 30-plus. 35.
Oh, no. Don't tell me. Luka,
30-plus.
Come on.
94 to 1. 94 to 1. Foul out. 27. Loss. How do we? So that's why? Because I didn't play the Octopus. He fouled out? Is that what you're telling me?
With 4 minutes to go. Like you would have had that.
Dave.
I mean, I don't want to step on you while you're down, but
but I had it. It was dead to rights.
All the good ones. I mean, you made the number. Oh man. Oh
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
you wanted to
now?
I'll give you a quick.
We're going to alt Drew Holiday rebounds. Tomorrow.
No, yeah, Dave's best bet game 4. Drew Holiday over 2.5 boards minus $2,000. Listen to me. You want to know something that's hilarious with that 30 thing? So I had a $5 free bet, right? I went big game hunting. I put it on DK. It was 50 to 1. Me, because I couldn't help myself, looked at the FanDuel price, saw it was 94 to 1. So I got to put the other $5 on it.
No question.
Right? What's the word? I told someone the other day, you bet stuff like that, you'll only be angry if it hits. I lied. I wish I never bet it. It was a nightmare. It was disgraceful. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Do me a favor before you go. Play a game with me. All right? The Indiana Fever are up at half, 59-44.
Big game.
Do you know how many points Caitlin Clark has?
I don't, but I'll say 11.
Okay, I was going to say set the line of how many points she scored in that first half. You'd set it 10.5?
Fair.
5.
That's it?
5. Aaliyah Boston, 17. Kelsey Mitchell, 16. Nice little help. Not mad at it. Uh-oh. Could help. Might be turning around a bus. If it's not too late. All right, Consig. That'll do it, man. I'm going to let you get out of here. In-game live tonight.
Yes,
live
sir.
in studio show again. Who's coming through? Big crew?
No, just me.
You on for the whole hockey game?
Couple guys. No.
Well, how's that work?
We're only doing 2 hours and turning it over to Gabe.
Ew. Listen, these guys need a little bit more. Let's open it up here.
What's he doing, Sam? What is he doing right now? Who are you calling? Who's on the other end of that call?
I had to call a couple people. I had to call a couple people, man.
All right, goodbye.
Wow. All right.
Close it out strong.
I just got followed on Twitter at @chubby_demigod_. That's a great name. I love what I'm seeing there. I love what I'm seeing. People are in the mix. If you're watching this and don't follow me, be like at @chubby_demigod_. And get in the mix at the Kevin Walsh now. I quite frankly am not so sure if that isn't my own burner that just followed me. I could be a chubby demigod. We can't rule that out. You see OK Dub coming, you think that's Chubby Demigod. No, you let him know. You let him know. You're like, hey, Joe, I was just talking to Chubby Demigod, Kevin Walsh. and it's good to see you, brother. It's good to see you. Overtime, Panthers, Oilers, Mookie Betts with the total bags.